What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Tide Talk. It's Monday, April 28th, and we're here to talk RIFC's 4-1 USL Jagermeister Cup victory over Westchester. That was a mouthful. Just a reminder, each episode is available on YouTube, and if you're watching now, please take a second, hit that subscribe button on our channel. Give us a thumbs up to like the video as it helps more people find us. If you can listen to the audio version, you can also find us on all of your favorite podcast applications like Spotify and Apple. And if you listen on one of those, we'd really appreciate it if you leave us a 5-star rating and a short review. Again, it just helps more people find our show. The numbers of people not subscribed while watching is dwindling. So, if you're watching, click that subscribe button. Also, click that like button. Just hammer that like button. Get us going. All right. So one last plug. If you're not already, go check out the RIFC Club Collector app. Enter the code TIDETALK25, all lowercase, all one word, to get an exclusive pack added to your collection today. So cozy up. Crack a bear. Let's dive into this one. I'm your host, Matt, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. Ryan Healy, who I got to travel with amongst others yesterday. So, I guess first off, how's your day going, Ryan?
It's good. I went for a run after work, which I think was fueled by the 18 slices of pizza that we had on the way home yesterday. But yeah, overall, okay day. Obviously a little slow. Those travel days are tough, but we grind through it.
It was quite a fun away day. First of all, shout out to Mr. Andrew Quadros for driving our hijacking butts up there and getting us up there in one piece. Timmy was in the car too. Timmy does not know how to close the car door. Just more awkward situations for Mr. Sclafani. But like Matt Hand says in the chat, it was an epic trip. We linked up with the Hands at Cantina Lobos, which was Westchester's supporter group's meeting spot. We got there before them. We outnumbered them. The owner was one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He gave us their supporters, club prices and specials, breakfast tacos. You and I both had a Paloma that was outstanding. But a really, really good start to the day, and some really good hospitality from our guests or from the hosts.
Yeah, it was cool. I've never been to Westchester or Mount Vernon or any of that area, and it was a nice little intro to the day. I mean, getting some nice Mexican food in you, to set a good base, and then that Paloma was top notch. I might have had two actually, but don't tell anybody.
Really was. I had to. I switched it up. I tried they had a beer as well as it seems to be the culture of USL soccer and supporters clubs podcast. Whatever. Everyone's got their own beer, which is awesome. More the merrier. But just a really cool start to the day. We then headed over to parking garage. We were at the Best Buy one. We did some Jagermeister Jello shots. Big shout out to Sarah, of course, for the Jello shots that continue to flow. That's the real reason why Matt Hands is kind of known at all. Little pregame in there, and then we watched the marching band over the ledge for a little bit, and made our way inside to Memorial Stadium there, which was a pretty nice setup. Definitely not a soccer specific stadium. On our walk in, also worth noting on that note that we did run into Footy New England, who indulged in some Jaeger Jello shots with us. So shout out to Todd. His real name is Todd. But overall, just a really cool time leading up to the match. Just a really good atmosphere. The weather was good. Really, really fun times.
Yeah, I thought the marching band was a cool touch. Obviously with such a new club, we didn't really know what to expect in terms of support and their supporters group. We joke that on the website it's an AI image, but it literally is. So it was cool to actually meet some of those folks who are trying to bring this stuff up from the ground. They had a cool atmosphere with the marching band. I think they kind of had heard some tales of Rhode Island FC and their traveling support, so they had to do something to step it up. But overall, I thought leading up to the game, you couldn't ask for more. And again, like you said, an absolutely perfect day for soccer.
I think it was really funny that we were in their supporters bar and they took one drum out of a cover, and we're very excited about the one drum. And I don't know if it was Andrew or Timmy. Somebody said to them yeah, we're bringing a lot more than that. So be ready. So also really cool seeing La Banda back in action.
Oh, yeah.
And just beating on those drums for 90 minutes. Can't wait for Saturday, with them getting that practice run in essentially.
No, it was great. I mean,
so all good stuff.
Classic road warrior road trip. I mean, the amount of people who were there was pretty crazy. Obviously not the longest drive in the world, but between Portland and between this, it's just cool to see how well this group travels. We've seen it all last year as well, especially throughout the playoffs. So just another check mark for the road warriors.
Right on. I think it was Timmy that said how dare the team from the Bronx not be ready this year and deprive us of one more away day. It just would have been perfect because this was quite a good drive, quite an easy drive. Um, Andrew Quadros, pro driver. So big shout out to him.
Nothing phased that guy. I remember there was a
Man,
bumper in the middle of the road. He just cruised very closely past it. No big deal. Didn't even
that
flinch.
was so nonchalant. I thought we were eating it. Like it was pretty wild. We'll talk more about his driving when we talk about our post-match shenanigans, but we'll dive into the match with this and look at the starting 11 for RIFC. Jackson Lee gets the nod in net. Rio Hopegun, Grant Stoneman, Frank Nodarce, Elder Sanchez, Clay Holstead, Zach Caravo, Jose Quazera, Maxi Rodriguez, Noah Fuson, and JJ Williams to round it out. Ryan, talk a little bit about this shape and what it actually looked like in and out of possession in this one.
Yeah, so I was really excited that Kano rolled this one back. I think it's kind of stuck with this being probably the best, use of who we have available right now with so many people hurt. So yeah, I was super excited. I know we talked about it last episode about how it was great to see this for about 4 minutes last game before the Frank red card.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Frank. But yeah, I mean, in and out of possession, it was interesting. It's a fun formation because you get Quazera, JJ, and Noah up front. So Noah and Quazera really benefit from playing off of JJ when he's holding up. And then you also have Maxi too, who can run in behind. And then you have two just like athletic freaks of Haravow and Clay just covering all the ground behind them and just pinching the field so that, if the other team is trying to get out, you really can't either. So again, I was super excited about this and I think it paid off.
Yeah, very, very cool stuff. Like you mentioned, Clay and Haravow covering all that ground. I know you're going to talk about the adult midfield that you referenced so frequently last season and very much how this could be. I liked with the creative freedom, the creative license that they gave Maxi. Maxi was able to play so much further advanced than we've seen in these last few matches, and I think that had a big impact on his goals and goal contributions in this one. And I think we really saw like what Maxi can provide and that spark he can provide to this lineup and going forward.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's nice too about Maxi is like, we talked about it a lot. Like when we signed him, everyone was talking about his goals, his assists, the creativity, but he's also somebody who's not afraid to get a tackle in and things like that. So actually having him advance up the field, number one, is great for that, unlocking the creativity, getting him involved with those forwards. But also, when we start the press, he's up there and he's more than capable of putting a tackle in and kind of getting a turnover in that final third. So overall, I think this is the best use of Maxi. And if you go and look back, we did a blog series, called, I think, the 3-body problem back in before the season started of how do we deploy this midfield when we have, so many midfielder bodies. I also wrote it back when Maxi signed, but this to me is our best midfield. I think it's very complementary of each other. I think it allows everyone to play to their strengths. And I hope we see it more often, especially with how we know Clay can be pushed to center back, pushed to right wing back. But yeah, I would love to see this trio kind of be able to grow and thrive together.
So, you say that with Mark Ibarra being out injured, with the healthy Ibarra, is it still this midfield trio for you?
Yeah, and unfortunately is, and I totally get the arguments for Ibarra. And I don't think we are significantly worse in that case, but to me, this is the 3 best midfielders on the team who all can complement each other. And I think this, if you're playing the game of your life and the aliens come down, they're invading Earth, and you say you got to win this game, like these are who I'm going with right here.
These are the Monstars.
Yeah.
Or the opposite of that, I guess.
Yeah, but, I guess Maxi is Michael Jordan in this one, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he was right there. Absolutely right there on it. But we got the scoring open pretty early on in the 26th minute off a corner. We saw a lot of corners early on in this one. And I thought Maxi did a really good job putting the ball into a good spot overall on his attempts from the corner. We lost that with, seeing, I won't even say his name, but the player that now plays for Hartford with that brace and red card, but he was the big part of what we were doing off set pieces last year. And if Maxi can deliver a good ball into the box, we've got some big, tall, physical guys who can go attack it. And we saw that in the 26th minute as Frank Nodarce put the tide up 1-0.
Sets up Maxi Rodriguez with yet another in-swinging corner, and it finds its way in. Rhode Island breaks the deadlock early, and it's Frank Nodarce on the score sheet. It was constant pressure. And at the 3rd time of asking from this near side.
So Frank didn't have to do too much on that one. He just had to be taller than his defender. Check. Jump at the right time. Check. And, easily head it in. But great delivery from Maxi. You had to figure he was trying to pick Frank out with the height differential there. And we're able to get on the board and make it 1-0 pretty early on.
Yeah, I mean, not much more to add there. I think it's good, especially with such an early goal, to see Maxi getting those good service, and you kind of could tell it's like, okay, this could be a good day. It's almost like you see like a good shooter, like put up their first jump shot, and it's like, all right, that was pretty clean. Like, let's rock and roll from now on. So, and also shout out to Frank. Like, I have been critical of him in the past on these set pieces. It's like he's so much bigger and he's more athletic than most people. He actually really powered through that header and got it down so that it was on goal. So shout out to Frank for getting that one in there. I know I've been critical in the past. I want to make sure I call out when he's doing the right thing.
Right on. Like Kaylor says in the chat, her insane rumor, Maxi is decent at soccer. That he is.
I mean, I've been spreading it personally, so glad it made it down to Birmingham.
I like how Matt Hands is trying to peg this goal down a little bit, and he throws the good header. Like, he wants to just go absolutely apeshit for his boy Frank, and Frank getting the goal. So he's taming expectations with this, kind of making things a little more lukewarm. And like Timmy says, Quadro sighting in the replay. So a lot of us in the replay. I think I was whacking Mac on the back, like, "Hey, that's your guy." And, yeah, but overall, a really good goal off a really good set piece, and we struck again 2 minutes later as JJ got his first of his brace.
There's still plenty of room for growth for them as well. Fuson laying it off. Rodriguez makes it 3.
I clicked the wrong goal, so I totally.
They'll be tough to beat. Sanchez over the top for Quizera. And now through Rodriguez! Deflected, loose for Williams, and he converts. It is 2 for Rhode Island in 3 minutes.
So Maxi does all the dirty work there, rips off a pretty good shot that gets, clipped and saved or just enough, but JJ's able to clean up the mess. This one actually stems from some really good pressure. Quizera puts a nice ball back into the box too. Just an overall very well-worked goal from RIFC.
Yeah, I mean, again, you kind of see a lot of what we talked about in the beginning there of like the benefits of the formation that we're playing. So you have kind of JJ up there causing chaos and being around the box. You have Maxi being able to press up and be kind of in that center area, almost as if he's like in a 2 with JJ. Quizera's out on the wing causing chaos that he can cause. And then you have Haraval, who's able to kind of press up and recycle the ball and kind of quickly get it into Maxi so that he can, cause a lot of the chaos that makes that goal. So yeah, I think this one, and then we'll talk about in a second, the other goal, I think really show a lot of the benefits of what this formation, especially with these players, can provide. Right.
Timmy and a couple other people mentioned the turn from Maxi in the box there. It is absolutely sinister. Leads the defender kind of on the deck, and unlucky not to score his first goal, but luckily enough, he did not have to wait long, as just 10 minutes later, he's able to find the back of the net on a really good finish.
There's still plenty of room for growth for them as well. Fuson laying it off. Rodriguez makes it 3. A clinical break, and Rhode Island is putting it on the host now.
So a really good pressure there from Quizera to start it. He finds JJ. JJ picks out Noah. A great peel back pass, and then Maxi's able to slot it home, cool, calm, and collected to make it 3-0 at that point. Just a really nicely executed goal from the pressure to the peel back and a really composed finish.
I mean, no assist to Maxi goal. If I wasn't wearing like 7 layers yesterday, that the top would have been popped. That was my favorite moment of the day by far. But yeah, it all starts from the pressure. I thought our press was great all day. And I think Westchester, I don't know why they kept trying to play out, but they just could not deal with our physicality and like our press. I mean, we have one of the best press in the USL Championship. And, for a League One team, I respect that they're not, backing off of doing, playing the way that they want to play. But there's a point where it's like, you guys really need to play over this, because we were just dominating them there. And, to see Quizera really put that tackle in, you get Noah running off him, and then, yeah, Maxi kind of gliding in that back post. It's exactly how Kano would have drawn it up here.
Right on. We see finally a goal from Maxi. I know people have kind of been down on Maxi and kind of speaking ill of him of late with not getting in the goals and assists, but you and I are pretty big fans, and you kind of look at what he does on the ball and in those tight spots, and you saw the turn that led up to his first really good shot. And you just see, the team kind of reward him for staying with the play there and able to get, finished and going there. So really good to see him open his account, get an assist as well. And hopefully it's just a sign that really good things to come. And there's no reason not to believe it will be. I think Maxi's a very talented player. This team's starting to gel a little bit more. They're starting to find the back of the net. Look forward to see what he can do, especially at Tidewater, as we're going to be there for so many weeks out of the next few.
Yeah, I mean, I do get wary of like judging a central midfielder only on goals and assists. I think especially when he does so much, he's a very like all around midfielder. He's someone who's not afraid to tackle. He's not afraid to drop deep to help build up play. So yeah, I just would warn everybody about only talking about midfielders that way, because or even like anyone that way, because I know people are frustrated with JJ at points last year, and we kept reiterating over and over and over again how much he was doing for this team, even if the ball wasn't always going in the back of the net. So stay patient with him. But there have been some great signs. I know we talked about it in person yesterday, but one thing with Maxi that I have found really impressive is his ability to like work through really tight situations. And you'll actually see him a lot of times calling for the ball, and there's a guy like almost on him, and you're kind of like, no way. And the first couple of weeks that the teammates weren't passing it to him, and I think he was getting frustrated very visibly about that. But we started to see in the Detroit match and then yesterday that they were being much more open to passing to him there, and he was like really breaking play, like being able to glide past his defender, and all of a sudden he takes out 3 players with that move. So I think it's part of his game that his teammates are starting to recognize, and I hope we see moving forward, because again, it's a real game changer for us.
Right on. So we hit the half there with those goals, and stats for this looked like RIFC with 56% possession outshot Westchester 11-4, 6 shots on target to 2, 4 big chances created, 1 big chance missed, 180 accurate passes at 83%. Been one of the highest percentage for passing this season with that one. 3 fouls committed, 5 for Westchester, and 7 corners apiece. A pretty dominant display of passing, a pretty dominant display on the ball, and pretty clinical as well as they hit the break up 3-0. Overall, a very polished, clean first half against a team from a lower division, kind of what you would expect, kind of what you would hope to see this RIFC do in a competition like this.
Yeah, I mean, especially with goal differential potentially being a really big part of this, you really do want to see them kind of pour it on and rack up that difference, because it all, with the way this competition works, it's very weird, and you kind of like have to top your group or you're more or less out. So yeah, the more the merrier in this competition. But yeah, like you said, it's like they're supposed to do this against a lower league team, but like it's good that they are. Like I'd rather talk about that than talk about how like, oh, they weren't able to turn the opportunities into chances or things like that. So I thought it was a great first half. I thought no one could hear our pregame stream, but we did predict 3-0. So I felt really good about that, except we did say it for full time. I will give
yeah, it is what it is.
Again, no one will ever hear it, so they can't verify yeah,
that's it. So a really good display there. I think we did talk in our pregame about how that bench was very thin and very kind of I didn't see a spot where you could really bring someone on to really impact the game if we needed it. And we very much hoped that RFC would jump out to an early lead in this one. So to see them do that, start a strong 11 in a cup competition versus a lower tier team and execute that flawlessly, essentially in the first half, was pretty good. Exactly what we wanted to see. Got one pretty good clip from Jackson on a really good save. Jackson pretty solid in net again. We'll talk about the goal and not at all on him, but here's a look at a really good first half save from Jackson.
Johnson. Quality underlapping run from Johnny Bolaños. Back for Obregon. Jackson Lee passes his first test. It's slick interplay. Jackson Lee has to palm out a full arm.
So a big stop in the situation where it was tied 0-0. That was Westchester's first really big chance. It was a pretty good peel back pass. The player who took the shot and took it, the strike, wasn't able to really settle it and get it down. But he did have a defender, in front of him. So that's one that can kind of get lost in the weeds. But Jackson makes a really good dive and stop to parry that one out of bounds.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great stop by Jackson. It's one of those ones, though. I don't know how we allow that player to get a shot off there. Like, he has all day to settle that, and we just don't get close enough to him. Like, that to me should be a block, and something I feel like this season we haven't done as good of a job as last year of blocking shots. I think we actually got like really good at that towards the end of last season, especially. But Yeah, great reaction time by Jackson, especially with those turf fields that you kind of don't know what's going to happen there. The other thing too, like you see Jackson and like he usually could have been screaming at them about that, but he comes out and he's almost like he has a smile on his face.
Smile.
Yeah, and it goes back to, I've been listening to a lot of Tommy Quinlan's interviews with the players, and he has this like reoccurring question he's been asking about, like, who would you play as your golf foursome? And every single time everyone's like, I need Jackson in the cart for the vibes. I need him like on the music, telling jokes, like stuff like that. And you can see he has that like great locker room presence and connection with the team. So yeah, I think it's only a benefit. And, having him, push and be as good as he is, especially when I think we're not taking into account how long he was out with that injury. So he's looked really sharp coming back, and great to see.
And he does a really good job with the post-match selfies. We're 2 for 2 in the cup with the win. So I hand him the phone, takes the phone, knows what to do. It's good stuff.
Long may it continue. Let me tell you that.
That's it. Long may he reign. As we switch gears a bit and look at the second half and kind of look at what Saturday is going to look like, make sure if you have not already, please smash that like button, hit that thumbs up button, and give the video a like, please. But we looked at RIFC, kind of continued with the dominant possession early on in the second half, and just 20 minutes in, we see JJ complete his brace and make the score 3-0 at this point. 4-0. Sorry, 4-0 at this point. All over.
Spent last season playing on the campus of Bryant University in Smithfield, Rhode Island. Now properly playing. As here's Williams, through on goal, makes it 4. A brace for Williams, a 4th for Rhode Island, and that should all but seal it.
A really well-timed run from JJ there, and a really nice weighted ball by Maxi, putting him in, playing him in at the exact right time. I always hate when defenders put their hands up and stop playing, and you saw Westchester do that, and JJ was able to hold the line perfectly, and especially in a league with no VAR, it's what the refs are going to call. Definitely looked onside as well. So, the fact that he timed that really well, Maxi picked him out, just a really well-worked goal. Striker's finish, really well placed, and, pretty much put the game to bed from that one.
Yeah, it's good to see JJ get back on his scoring streak there. I know he had a couple of games where he hasn't put the ball in the back of the net, but yeah, the more informed JJ is, the better will be. And I think it was Zach who actually made the pass. He did a really good job being patient and kind of waiting for that space to open up to put JJ in behind there. But yeah, to your point, like I actually am shocked how often the defenders do like the hand raise thing in this.
It drives me nuts.
Oh, there's no VAR. There's nothing saving you.
Right.
So it's like you're just completely risking that. These
just giving up on the play.
Yeah, and we talk quite constantly about how the officiating standards in this league are not the highest, and for them to like still put all their faith that this guy is like perfectly paying attention and gonna raise the flag is honestly insane to me. So hey, more power to JJ. Glad he was able to slot that one home.
I guess they're lucky it wasn't Josh.
I again, we got to kind of let Josh off the hook, because I think he was right.
That's it. But 20 minutes after JJ made it 4-0, we did see Westchester get on the board. So we'll take a look at that goal and kind of what went wrong in that situation.
Did feature against Portland in the Open Cup and was rather impressive. Goes in. It's loose. Bolaños picks it up, and Westchester's on the board. Cause for celebration. It's one back by Guzin in midfield, and it's a really progressive pass from the Dutchman. A loose touch from Harivo, and all Bolaños has to do is tuck it with the outside of the boot beyond Jackson Lee. So his quest for a first clean sheet of the year is dashed at the death. Westchester on the score sheet as Bolaños finishes clinically.
So first off, Amos gets put in an absolute blender on that turn. That is one hell of a turn by the Westchester player there.
Well, Tamo also blows past it too. Like,
bro, he kind of goes in and tries to like blow the whole play up and kind of whiffs on it, and then the player is able to win it there and just put an absolute wild spin move on Amos, and then pretty shitty ball into the area that Zach's just too nonchalant with, takes kind of a heavy touch, and Westchester is essentially able to walk it in there, but not the kind of goal we want to be giving up going into a home opener, big stretch of league play. just kind of sloppy, and what the back's going to look like for these next couple of games with injuries, suspension. It's kind of a red flag as to what USL Championship teams will do in those situations versus RIFC.
Yeah, well, before we get into the center back talk, I do have to shout out Kevin Vang for just putting an absolute body on that guy. He went in to help out his boy Amos and try to at least like make up for it a bit. But yeah, I think as we look at the depth chart, and we've talked a bit about this, where we have like a lot of midfield depth, but we don't really have a ton of depth, especially like center back, especially when we're playing 3 center backs. So, Karifa Yao was injured today. We don't have Frank for Saturday because of the red card against Detroit. Rio, we haven't heard any news about his contract being picked up, and Hugo, we still haven't seen him even remotely practice. So going into this weekend, we really only have Grant Stoneman and then potentially Clay Holstad or Zach Caravel or both in your back line. So I think it's a pretty dire situation, and I hope something is in the works to try to solve this, whether it may be just Rio's contract gets picked up or not. But yeah, definitely is a little worrying, and especially because you see plays like that with Zach, and it shows just how he's not a natural center back. A natural center back probably isn't going to do that, but with him, spending almost the entire rest of the game in midfield, he kind of is playing as if he has a bit more time, a little bit more space, and kind of blows up on him. So really hope we can get at least one like natural center back in to try to resolve some of these issues. But yeah, definitely worrying for sure.
Yeah, just very nonchalant on the ball there, I think, is the biggest thing. And, like you said, he's not a center back. Clay's not a center back. He's serviceable wherever you put him. But like you talked about with that, the adult midfield, as you call it, Clay in the midfield is the best Clay, is what we want to see. So,
and same with Caravel. Like, I can't believe we have to now say that too. Like, Caravel is significantly better as a midfielder.
If we're able to, sign Rio or add another defender from elsewhere, that's really what we would want to see. So we're able to play our best players in their best positions to really help this team move forward. But final stats for this one were 54% possession for RIFC to 46 for Westchester. We outshot them 16-7. We outdrummed them 13-1. 8 shots on target to 5. 5 big chances to 1. 1 big chance missed for us, 0 for them. They completed 264 passes at 79%. We completed 337 at 82. 18 falls for them, 17 for us, 12 corners apiece. A pretty dominant showing
really
on the
12
ball.
corners apiece.
Yeah, it seemed like the first half I think it was 7-7 and 5-5. It was actually split in both halves, actually looking at it. I felt like there was a stretch in the first half where it was just Maxi at the corner flag for minutes on end. So I think they just kind of went one after another really quick, really bang, bang. But I think the encouraging stat for me is that passing accuracy that's come up. We've been in the low 70s for most of the season. I think we had a 69 game as well. But love to see the pass percentage get a little bit higher. And I think it's a lot to do with what you said, and just kind of an adult midfield out there that knows how to play the game, that knows how to play together, is able to string some things together, and that's going to link up the attack. So exciting things in this one. Hopefully it's something that we can kind of translate going forward. But like you said, I am very worried about how we look on defense and what that back line is going to look like heading into the home opener.
Yeah, I mean, just to reiterate a couple more positives before we, get all doom and gloom over here. But I did like that we did create 5 big chances. I thought that was great to see. Again, all the caveats about the level of the opponent are there, but I think that's huge for us, especially earlier this season. We were really struggling in that regard. And then our shots, 16 shots. I think it was about like 9. I think 8 of them were on target, which is just great to see. That's how you score the goal, is to get the ball on target, on net. And the more we can see them racking up kind of like a higher volume of shots, I think it just benefits us overall.
No, right on. Let's hit some of the socials for RIFC and 3 in good, better, best. We'll start in the Defiant 1636 Discord. Andrew Hills, RIFC and 3 is we travel well. We talked about it in the opening. Just a really fun away day as well, Ryan. I think we all kind of talked today after, the 4 of us in Andrews's car, and then Sarah and Matt, everywhere we went to. It was just a really fun day. We all had a fun time. Cool when you can kind of do them all in a straight shot like that in one day, and be home on the same night and all that. But we extended our trip after the match. We stopped in Connecticut for some pizza at Brewport, and then we hit Frank Pepe's. Maybe a mistake. How many slices did you end up downing, Ryan?
Only God knows. I have absolutely no idea.
So Ryan
An
was in
uncomfortable amount, I'll tell you that much.
what's that?
It's an uncomfortable amount, I'll tell you that much.
I think the best part of the night was we all sit down at Frank Pepe's and Sarah orders us a round of water, and then Ryan's quiet, silent in the corner of the booth, and he's just like, "We'll take a picture of Peroni." Just
It's all
absolutely
right. It's all
slamming
right.
down clam pizzas and just needed just Peroni. It was all good.
Yeah, I felt
But
great today.
absolutely. Good stuff there. So the travel well, it's all about, making those memories and having good times with people. So very, very well traveled support. I know Matt Hands was saying earlier too that his dad was watching the match and the commentators really commented on, how well our RIFC fans traveled and how the atmosphere was really coming from our section in this one.
I mean, it had to have been. Like, I unfortunately think some of those Westchester fans were just not expecting us to pull up. Which, in fairness, I don't know why they would, but yeah, I think there were some disappointed people in the section next to us. So just being like, I have to sit here the entire match and just hear drumming and drumming and drumming. But I think some of them started getting into it by the end of the game.
Oh yeah,
It creates a party,
it was good stuff. We had Pawtucket J in the Discord. His RFC in 3 was Little Drummer Boy. He's got a few of them here. Maxie's breakout party. That neighborhood was insane. It was like driving around like Chestnut Hill. And then he had Ozzy. Big shout to Jackson Lee. Sarah had finally Maxie's goal. Good traveling with the group. Better finally seeing Maxie get his first goal in amber and blue. And best finally seeing the guys in person since the Eastern Conference Championship. RIFC in 3 for Terrace was much needed result. Andrew Gomes, RFC in 3 was home opener next. Terrace's good was we scored, better positive momentum, best traveling fans were ready and loud. Big shout out to Terrace, who was at the Portland Hearts of Pine at Hartford game the night before wearing his Beat Hartford RIFC t-shirt in the Portland section. Well done, Terrace. Really good stuff. We had Tyler with another away day. Timmy's RFC in 3 was home game time. His good was Jackson Lee. Better, thank you, Detroit, for unlocking Angry Maxie. Best attack looks like it's clicking. Also, Westchester is bad. One of the big storylines that came out after this one was Maxie's lock screen is that Charmin's soft graphic that the Northern Guard supported. And when our supporters started chanting a very anti-Detroit chant, Maxie was, raising his hands, egging it on, and really seemed kind of energized by it. I know you got to love that kind of fight from that kind of dog from this one.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been, I think, more neutral on Detroit than a lot of people. I know a lot of people already didn't love the Northern Guard, but that I genuinely found what they did last week with Maxie to be like truly shameful. Like a club legend, someone who brought a championship to your team, was the MVP of that team, and you're doing the Charmin Papersoft thing. Like I try to get my Twitter fingers, rocking and rolling and trying to get into retweeting their stuff, trying to, chirp back at them, but they wouldn't even bother. I genuinely can't believe it. And hey, if it works for Maxie, it works. But I just thought it was a disgrace to try to do that to one of your club legends, really.
Yeah,
But I mean, hey, he's taking it in stride. It seems like.
Yeah, but he's taking it in stride. But it's also been said that he's very pissed off about it. So the fact that he's got it on his lock screen, he's got it on motivation. He's got a Tide Talk sticker now too, so he knows what's up.
You think he's gonna put on like a water bottle? Like, what do you think he's gonna do with it? I'm so intrigued.
Maxie, if you're listening, if you end up watching, send us a photo. Where'd you put that Tide Talk sticker? We'd love to see it.
We won't share it with anybody.
That's it. The last take we had was RFC in 3 on Facebook from our good friend Don Lidberg, who caught us mid live stream with a picture. That was pretty funny. And his was walloping in Westchester. It really was a walloping, so it was very, very good to watch. Very good to see, and hopefully that's some momentum carried into the home opener as we will step foot inside of Tidewater for the first time for a match on Saturday at 4 o'clock versus San Antonio. San Antonio's been off to quite an interesting start this season. They went on a really big run. They've lost a couple. They've won their last 2 now. So a team that we definitely can't take lightly, especially not being at full strength in the back. But it's going to be quite an atmosphere. The tailgate will be rocking. looking forward to this one beyond belief, and really excited to see what the atmosphere looks at in Tidewater for the first time.
Picture this. We're all sitting there in the parking lot, right? We're waiting for the lineup to come out. We're all sitting there with our club collector thing. Lineup drops, and Morris Duggan starting at left center back.
And then you woke up in that booth at Frank Pepe's.
I mean, I can literally dream, but what a moment that would be. I'd be trying to figure out how I could get a brand new club collector card for him. But yeah, I hope between now and let's say Friday or Thursday, maybe they can get an extra practice game in or a practice training session in, that we have some extra center back body, because I really don't know how I'll feel if either Frank, Clay, or both, not Frank, Clay, Zach, or both of them are at center back on Saturday.
Yeah, you want to play your best players on the field, but you also want them in their best positions that are going to help you out the most. So if we can play this game without Clay in the back line, I'll feel a lot better about it going forward. But if Clay's in that back line, it's a tougher pill to swallow.
Yeah, I mean, the real moment of the match is going to be when Matt Hands is handing Maxie the supporter paddle for man of the match. So I'm excited for that for sure.
I mean, Matt Hands offered to sell it on Twitter. I offered him $16.36. He said sold. I'm holding him to it.
Whoa, okay.
I'm holding him to it. Deal's a deal. Deal's a deal.
Yeah. I mean, I know Matt Hands is the man of his word. So congrats to you, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Anything else you want to touch on before we really kind of sign off on this one, Ryan?
No, I mean, I we both got to go to the open house the other day for a little bit, and seeing the stadium just have like a little bit more, like, because we went on the tour and it was obviously super impressive on the tour, and then to see the stadium with some people in it, some games going on, but like a pretty fun atmosphere was great. But I think Saturday is just going to be such a level, and for everyone who is there, like, just take it in, because like we only get this first game once, and I truly think it's going to be special. It's going to be a bit emotional. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and yeah, it's just a lot of new traditions, a lot of new things to pay attention to, which is going to be great.
You can look for Ryan crying in section 205. If you're sitting below the overhang, I don't know what section that is, and it's raining, but it's not raining. Those are Ryan's tears coming over the edge and raining down on you. But it's definitely going to be an interesting one. The San Antonio team is very intriguing. They played really well. They played not so well. Kind of a roller coaster start. More ups than downs for them, though. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out, and hopefully, the team can really kind of play off the crowd and get things going, kick off the opening of Tidewater with 3 points.
Yeah. Another thing I'm picturing now that I'm just doing this, I don't know why I'm just doing this, but a Clay banger, like, to open the account at Tidewater would be the place. There's no roof, but the roof would go off. It'd be unbelievable.
A Clay banger from center back.
Yeah. Fuck.
All right. Any final thoughts, my friend?
I think I've given you a lot of extra thoughts, so I'm good.
That's it. But if you stuck with us all this time, as many of you have, make sure you hit that like button before you close out and head on to something else. But a Clay banger would end Andrew Quadros. Hopefully not, because we're going to need someone to whip in parallel park like he did at Frank Pepe's at whatever obscene time that was.
Yeah, no, the man put in a shift yesterday. It wasn't just RIFC that put in a shift.
What a guy. That'll wrap things up for this one. Remember, Tide Talk is more than just a podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for daily social media content. Click that link in this episode description to follow all of our accounts. I've been your host, Matt, for my good friend Ryan. Thanks again for joining. We'll see you next time. And as always, up the Tide.
Up the Tide.